The freedom of information... Right, let's start again. Oh, that's awful. The second word I fell over on. That's just so embarrassing. That must be a world record. That's a failure inside of 1 second. I am so ashamed.
Do you want your jingle again?
No!
The freedom of... That's twice. I'll just say it really slowly and then carry on and pick up speed as we move along. All right. Start slowly and then, as you gain confidence. The Freedom of Information Act is a very good thing. It compels politicians of all stripes to release to us, their paymasters, any details about the activity of governance that we see fit to request. Any at all. Unless, of course, such disclosure would be injurious to the health of the country, or it's not in the national interest, or if it will make them look bad. In short, you can have access to any information you want, except the specific thing that you're asking for. Like MPs' expenses, falling over themselves they are to keep the details of all that secret. Nothing to hide, but none of your business anyway, they say. Well, since, as a group, they've shown themselves to be somewhat less than trustworthy of late, it's a bit rich to ask us to take their word that they're not on the fiddle. But the law wasn't meant to apply to them. It was meant to apply to the mother of three, who knowingly caused the deposit of controlled waste on land, which did not have a waste management licence, which is a fantastically po-faced and pinched way of saying she threw an apple core out the car window. Well, we've all done that. Chuck it in a field, it'll decompose, the bugs will love a bit of it. But the bill do not. And the full majesty of the law will be brought to bear on her, at a cost to us of about £5,000. That the law is an ass is well established, but this particular ass is so big you could see it from space. Which is perhaps a good thing, because any aliens watching us might assume that there's no intelligent life here and leave us alone. Scientists are actually concerned that by sending out messages to distant galaxies, we are inviting the attention of potentially violent alien races, far superior to ourselves, who would charge through space and annihilate all life on Earth, after carefully disposing of their in-flight meal leftovers. Take me to your leader, they'll say, and then they'll meet their nemesis. They'll feel the force all right. Maybe it's a good thing we've got him in charge. They actually said this today, because you're aware that we're sending out messages of cheer and goodwill. Beatles songs we're sending out into space. Well, somebody's thought, well, hang on a minute. This might not be a very good idea. I mean, look around. We're the dominant creature on this planet, and we're really nasty. What a piece of work we are. Scientists have warned that transmitting songs into deep space could put the Earth at risk of alien attack. I think I've seen that movie. They voiced fears that advertising humanity's place in the universe, as happened last week when NASA broadcast a Beatles track towards the North Star, could attract the attention of aliens who are less friendly than E.T. A Beatles track.
Well, they sent out Voyager in the 70s.
Yeah, that's right. I'll get to that.
With a record on it. Like they go, oh yeah.
Yeah, but we've only got
this.
CDs, they'll say. Dr. Doug of the SETI Institute, which has been leading the search for extraterrestrials, told the New Scientist magazine, before sending out even symbolic messages, we need an open discussion about the potential risks. A recording of the Beatles, guess which song they sent out? That's right, Across the Universe.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Across the Universe. Oh, I've lost my place. Oh, no.
Start again.
A recording of the Beatles Across the Universe was last week beamed in the direction of Polaris, also known as the North Star, by NASA. SETI, which stands for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, plans more broadcasts from its base in Mountain View, California. Don't do it, it ain't worth it. For the past 20 years, it's used radio telescopes to scan the skies for alien radio messages. Thanks to Kenny Everett for that. After getting nothing but static, some of its researchers have decided that listening for aliens is not enough. Instead, they say we should be actively sending out friendly signals to the stars. Well, how do they know it's friendly? I mean, across the universe might sound pleasant to us, but it might be the most disgusting thing that they've ever heard in their lives. It might be a call to arms for them.
They might not like the Beatles.
Well, yeah, that's right.
They might
Good
go,
point.
We want the Beach Boys.
Yeah, we want Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Dr. Dick, an astrophysicist from Princeton, told New Scientist, SETI's big mistake is that it's relying on ET to do all the heavy lifting. We'll just be sitting around listening, but nobody's doing any talking. A group of scientists is calling on SETI to broadcast a simple pulsed signal that reveals the presence of intelligent life on Earth. A simple pulsed signal, intelligent life. Like that. NASA attached engravings, as you said earlier on, depicting humans and our planet to the outside of the craft Voyager and Pioneer, the space probes. And aboard it, tapes of voices and birdsong and music and maps of where Earth is. Very bad mistake.
Yeah, there's a picture, I've seen it, and it's the 9 planets of the solar system and the sun, and then a big arrow saying, Earth, you are here.
Yeah, and but if you want to come here, you're going to have to park on Mercury, because there's no space. But only between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. Professor Barry, an astronomer with the Open University, is that still going? The Open University?
Yeah, you can study online and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Professor Barry, probably in a beard and a cardi, an astronomer with the Open University, added that there is an unofficial embargo about alerting potentially unfriendly species to our presence. The chances are slight, but the consequences would be huge. The end of life on Earth, he said. If they've got the technology to cross interstellar space to reach us, they'll be so much in advance of us humans that there's nothing we could do to resist them. Apart from the little microbes, because I've seen that film as well. And then rather unsatisfyingly, as Tom walks through what looks like a snowstorm, but is actually fried bits of humans, they just all die. That was a very unsatisfying end to that film, War of the Worlds. Like, they're going along, and it's all quite exciting, and they're bursting out of the ground and, zapping all of the humans. I love the way they zapped humans, by the way. War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. That's one of the best deaths I've ever seen. Running along, scared, and then the alien space beam blew them up and made them into confetti inside their clothes, which were unharmed. Brilliant.
You've just ruined the ending for me.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes. Sorry about that, yeah. But now, other astrophysicists point out that humanity has been advertising itself to neighbouring stars since the first commercial radio transmissions of the 1920s. Around about now, they'll be picking up Alan Freeman. All right? These early broadcasts will have travelled nearly 90 light years, which is, guess how much that is? Correct, 540 trillion miles, which is a very great distance indeed. So that's true, actually. All of our radio waves, they don't stay here, they just drift off into space, flying away at the speed of light, 186,000 miles a second. This means that it would take a radio broadcast 4 years to reach the closest star, Alpha Proxima. But at least one physicist at SETI is confident that first contact will be more like Steven Spielberg's friendly E.T. and less like Ridley Scott's horrifying Alien. Well, how does he know? Dr. Seth said that if there are any extraterrestrials listening out for us, they will already have had plenty of experience of Earth. He's sanguine about the possibility of unfriendly attention, saying it's quite paranoid, given that the one thing we know about aliens, if they do exist, is that they're very, very far away. Early broadcasts of Star Trek and I Love Lucy are washing over the star system, washing over one star system every day. If they're listening, they already know we're here. That's right. Seems a weird thing to be concerned about. I mean, really, there's nothing we can do about that, is there? Let's concentrate on things that we can do something about, like women throwing apple cores out the window into a field. We must bring down full majesty of the law to bear upon it. Yeah, well, yeah, you do, don't you?
I do in London.
Oh, well, no, that's wrong. You throw pedestrians out your car.
No, apple cores into people's heads. No, I don't. I wait until I'm passing a park.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Well, not a park, no. No, see, that's where we park company. I think it's perfectly acceptable to throw an apple core, if you're in the countryside, into a field, because that's where they come from.
Yeah, surely it's okay if it decomposes naturally.
Yes, exactly. Now, you don't throw plastic out. I'm not a litter bug. Anything that doesn't decompose or doesn't come from a field, I would not throw there. In fact, I would hesitate to throw a banana skin in it, because it's it's not part of its natural flora.
But will an apple core decompose on a pavement?
But yes, but it doesn't come from pavement. It's that if it's on pavement, it's litter. If it's in a field, then it's food.
I figure a park is similar to a field, so okay.
No, it's not. A park is nature tamed. You want to throw it into a field where nature is running riot with its little self.
A field in central London.
Put it in a bag and take it home.
I did throw one out.
Slovenly boy.
I did throw one out the window the other day, and I did that comedy film thing of I smashed it into the window because my window was only halfway up.
Well, there you are. You see, it serves you right.
I know, but I was embarrassed, and then no one saw it.
But don't cars actually come with their own little bins?
Ashtrays, yeah.
Bins? Yeah, bins.
They do not have bins.
Yeah, they're bins.
What are you driving around in, a Bentley?
No, well, no one uses
he has a dustbin man come to his car. It's so posh. He's got an outside toilet in his car.
Have you been spying on me?
It's 7:45. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. The M23 spur road is...
It's a good idea to get someone else's opinion.
She's right, Welling. Hello, Peter.
Hello there, young Nick.
Peter.
Just a quick point on your opening skit there, young there.
Yeah.
About the radio waves travelling out into space there.
Yes.
Surely they would travel at the speed of sound, not the speed of light, as you first suggested.
Well, I only suggested it because it was written down on in a newspaper, so I thought, well, it must be true.
Well, it must be. You must have been Mr. Stephen Hawking himself.
Well, here it is. You might not be right here. Smart Alec. Radio waves, like other forms of electromagnetic radiation, travel at the speed of light, around 186,000 miles a second.
You've just blown my little mind.
Groovy. Yes. OK, well, I'm glad to have done that.
OK, thanks,
Cheers,
Nick.
mate. Ta-ta. My work is done. 0845 6060 973. Chelmsford. Hello, Flash.
Hiya.
Yes,
How
mate.
you doing, my friend?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I thought I'd tell you about my little run-in with the traffic police on the M25 for dropping litter.
The traffic police had you for dropping litter?
Yeah, because I was in the passenger seat and we just had a cup of tea and I poured the drinks of the cup of tea out onto the M25 and they saw us do that.
Now, hang on a minute. Do you mean that you threw a plastic cup of tea out?
No, because it was a China cup. You ain't going to get rid of your best China mug.
Well,
although it did say Capital Radio on it, you probably would have liked me to throw that out. But, no, I just poured, like, the drinks that you get in the bottom that had gone cold out.
Right.
Most of it splashed up the side of my mate's car, who wasn't too happy. But the coppers saw us do that, and they pulled us over, and they said we were littering. And then they said, we explained that it was a cup of tea, and they said, well, that could be environmentally damaging because it's a liquid. So they gave us what used to be termed a 5-day wonder, which is now a 7-day wonder, to produce our documents.
Oh, come off it. Like, all of crime has been solved, and now they're just looking at this minutiae? This is ridiculous.
But, I mean, it was just an excuse to pull us over and check the car out, because obviously you're not supposed to pour liquid out of a car, you know?
Well,
it could
yes,
be,
but it might be hazardous to the tarmac.
Yeah, well, all I'd like to say is that the film you're talking about didn't have Sword calling Danny Boy, and that really put me off it.
Ah, yes. Oh, no, it's on the tip of my tongue. I saw it again just recently. Where Eagles Dare.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as I say, you've got to have David Essex and Phil Lynott in it if you're going to have War of the Worlds. You know, you can't have it without David and Phil in there.
No, well, I part company on you. I think that the first War of the Worlds film, and I don't think that had any major stars in it. I think the spacecraft were very good with the big snake with the red eye on the end of it shooting out ray guns. Yeah. But I think that for a way of killing people, outside possibly of the Omen movies, which were just exciting and different ways of slicing people's heads off and cutting them in half and so on, this is the best way of killing people I've ever seen in a film, because it blew them out of their clothes, which fell unharmed to the ground, and the people themselves became like snow. Oh, I just loved it every time I saw it.
But don't you think audio pictures are the best pictures in the world? You know, radio paints the best pictures.
Let me think about that.
No.
No.
Oh, you don't think radio's a good medium, then?
I think it's a great medium, but if it requires work, then I would always choose the option where that's not necessary.
Oh, I love audio books, so there you go. And I love War of the Worlds. That's a classic. I can, whenever I'm feeling down, just put War of the Worlds on and sit back and imagine.
Yeah, there's nothing like mass murder to make you feel happy, eh?
Yeah, well, it's the music as well. And Six of the Best used to be good. That's how I got introduced to it. But that's another radio station with Little Nicky Horn. So,
well,
I don't know what's happened to him.
Little Nicky Horn is on, I think he's been on every radio station that exists, almost more than I have.
Yeah, well, I used to love Little Nicky Horn, and, of course, then there was Cuddly Ken.
Yeah, well, I'll pass on your wishes to Little Nicky when I see him on Saturday. Thanks a lot, mate. 0845 6060 973. Bishop Stortford. Let's have Gary. Gary.
Hello, Nick. Good evening. How are you?
Good, thanks.
With sound waves, you're talking about light waves or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, about how fast they travel.
Yes.
Sound and radio waves are two different things.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that's right. Did it sound as though I knew what I was talking about?
Slightly. It did a little bit.
Okay. That's what I was going for.
Yeah. Sound, electromagnetic waves do travel at the speed, near the speed of light. They're slightly behind.
Right.
Only a fraction. Films.
Films?
The day the Earth stood still.
Oh, now, I have an interesting fact that about the day the Earth stood still, and I wonder if I'm going to get this right. Right at the end, a policeman appears, and is this the movie where the main protagonist asks the policeman if he should go left or right? I can't remember exactly what the conversation was, and the policeman says, "Oh, you don't want to go up there, Governor. There's nothing left." Isn't that policeman the very first appearance in a film of Michael Caine?
I wouldn't know. I'm not that much of a buff.
Oh, right. Not a lot of people know that.
But I think they should make a sequel to that film, because they do leave and say that they'll come back to judge us.
Right.
You know, because they put the robot down, didn't they, to see what we're doing like mankind.
It sounds like you are that robot, Gary. Are you calling us from outer space?
I am from outer space completely. I'm down here just to keep an eye on you guys.
Right.
You haven't done a very good job with the planet.
Well, no, sorry about that. Well, it's a work in progress.
Your lease is up.
It's a fixer-upper, like they say in estate agents' windows. Needs modernisation, yeah.
Needs better tenants.
That's right. It's in a tremendous neighbourhood, though.
Well, it's not really. It's no other inhabitants.
Well, that's true. Well, yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be a great neighbourhood if there weren't any other inhabitants?
Well, they've probably all got Hasbos.
It's the problem. It's the problem of the tenants. That almost skipped by me. Nice one. Thanks a lot, Gary.
Okay then.
Cheers, mate. Ta-da. They are actually concerned about this, though, sending waves into space, radio waves and TV waves, and there's much that we should be ashamed of for sending out there, because we can't keep the rubbish in and only send the quality out. I mean, sending out a Beatles song, all well and good. Who doesn't like the Beatles? Hands up who doesn't like the Beatles. Hands up who does like the Beatles. Overwhelming.
I'm not fussed.
My girlfriend doesn't like him.
Yeah, but no, you mean that she doesn't, she's not crazy about them. She doesn't dislike them.
No, she dislikes them.
No, I'm sorry, but that cannot be true. Nobody dislikes the Beatles. I mean, they have had so many songs of so many different types that it is impossible to say with truth that you do not like anything from the Beatles.
Apparently it's a medley that did it for her. There was a medley.
Oh, like a Beatles on 45,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
And it ruined it for her, so she just can't hear the Beatles now.
Are you talking about the people or the music?
Well, no, not the people.
Right.
I mean, it's perfectly reasonable to dislike Paul McCartney, for instance, or to think that John Lennon was a giant fraud. I have no problem with that. Or to think that Ringo seemed like the sort of bloke you'd want to go and have a drink with. I mean, of all of them, I think I'd rather have a drink with Ringo. the one that everyone forgets.
He stayed the most stylish the whole time as well, hasn't he?
Stylish?
Well, you know, he's not stylish, but by that fact, he's never been really out of fashion.
Right.
He just looks exactly the same, but with a beard.
Okay. So by myself not being a dedicated follower of fashion, and not ever having been in fashion or stylish, I am, by definition, then stylish. Is that right?
Dubai Home Exhibition
It's going extremely well.
You bet it is. There's some things about children watching TV that came out today. If you have an opinion on this, then give us a little tinkle and we'll have a chit-chat. Hey, 0845 6060 973. There's all sorts of stats in and around this. One of them is that hundreds of thousands of school children never play outside. Well, I couldn't believe it when I read that. Not just a few who are locked in a cupboard by their evil step-parents. Hundreds of thousands of children never play outside, according to research commissioned by the Scout Association. Now you might say, well, they would say that, wouldn't they? But they're saying that a rise in exams and homework, safety fears, an increased use of the TV and the internet and the computer games has caused children to become virtually housebound, it was claimed. 9 in 10 do less than the recommended 1 hour of exercise every day. I mean, I used to be a child, and I can remember just running about all over the place. That's what you did.
We had better weather then.
Rubbish. We have better weather now. It's much warmer now.
Where did you grow up, though?
In Essex. I was an Essex boy, but then also in Scotland.
Mm-hmm. Not in central London, then?
Well, no.
I think it's dependent on area as well.
Yeah, but this is a national thing. This isn't just London. This is this is national. And I can completely understand that if you live on the A4, then you don't want to go and play football in the street. That would be unreasonable. But, you know, I mean, you must know someone who's got a garden, or you must live somewhere near a park, or your school must have a playground. Go and run about that. But the other thing is about whether they should watch television or not. Now, I didn't have a TV when I was a kid. We had one TV in the living room. It was gone when I were a lad. And I can remember when it was, when it became colour from being black and white. Oh, the thrill was through the roof.
Bet you couldn't take your eyes off it.
Well, yes, but despite the fact that the only thing that was playing in the afternoon when we got the set was cricket.
Boring!
Exactly. That was the upsetting part. But, you know, in them days, we only had 3 channels. People find that hard to believe these days. 3 channels, that's right. And it all came to an end at about 11 o'clock at night. And there was no daytime television. It started at about 4, something like that. If the cricket was on, then it would be on through the day. But we didn't have any... kids didn't have TVs in their bedrooms. We wouldn't even think of such a thing. So when you retired to your bedroom, slamming the door, saying it's so unfair, you get out a book. And, you know, I mean, this might come as a revelation, but read! Preschool children should not be allowed to watch television or play with computers, a leading expert and author has claimed. On the other hand, the government is insisting that they do that. This is also quite staggering. Toddlers will be taught to turn on and operate televisions and computers under a mandatory new curriculum. The so-called nappy curriculum, which covers children from birth to 5, states that from the age of 22 months, children should show an interest in information and communications technology. From 22 months? What, a year and not quite another year?
Kids do that already, though.
Do they?
Yeah, my best friend's daughter, she's just over a year, and she manages to locate the power button on anything, basically, that's in the whole house.
The curriculum known as the Early Years Foundation stage, was laid down in minute detail last year and becomes law for nurseries or childminders in September. Otherwise, you're going to be fined. And everything is in minute detail, isn't it? I mean, it's centralisation is absolutely complete in this country. It was like Russia. No one gets to think for themselves at all. Youngsters are expected to meet up to... They've listed 500 developmental milestones between birth and the end of primary school.
What?
I know. 500. Amongst which are to learn how to use a television. Which I think, I mean, seems to me like common sense. That's the last thing that you should be giving them. At the time when their brains are forming, You should be exercising their brains rather than just turning them into a lumpy couch potato. No thought required in television. That's why I like it so much. But my brain has formed as much as it's going to. There's no hope for me. So I can read until I'm blue in the face. And reading, it's particularly late at night, just sends me straight to sleep. If it's fictional, I mean, I can read newspapers all day because, the horror just keeps you awake. But I pick up a book and I'm asleep within about 2 lines.
Maybe it's just a boring book.
No, any kind of fiction.
You want to get one with more pictures in it?
Pictures, yeah, you're right, yeah, pictures. Preschool children should not be allowed to watch television or play with computers, a leading expert and author has claimed. This is, on the other hand, that the government is saying that they must. Dr. Arick wants to see parents and teachers encouraged to enforce an early years buffer zone that would ban all electronic media to protect developing brains. And as I say, it seems like logical to me that he's got something here. Now, on the one hand, you could say, well, in the modern technological age, we should be teaching them these things early so they pick it up fast and they can use computers in their later life, but there's plenty of time to learn that stuff later. This chap has accused ministers of ignoring scientific evidence that hours spent in front of televisions and computer screens can inflict lasting damage on young children. Now, to adults, it just wastes the day. I mean, you sit in front of your pewter and for 5 minutes and you look up and 3 hours have gone by. So ever since I bought my iPod, other MP3 players are available, I've spent almost every waking hour filing all my CDs into the little thing and then putting them all in their little genres and making sure that every single track has got a corresponding album cover thing so that no little page comes up blank. They all got to have their respective pictures and putting them all into the sort of order that I would... it's just ridiculous the amount of time I've wasted on that thing. I mean, there's albums in there that I've never listened to, ever. What on earth is the point of transferring them from a dusty shelf into something else that I'll also never listen to them on? It's ridiculous, but it's give a bloke a list, and he'll spend from now until the rest of his life analysing it and putting it into some sort of order and cross-referencing. And what is wrong with us?
And if you don't put something on, you think, oh,
yeah, that's right. There might be, yes.
There'll be that one point where I think, ooh, I really want to hear that.
Correct.
And I didn't do it.
Because I was going to buy the small one. Well, in fact, I did buy the small one, but it never arrived. I bought it from a very famous postal company that sells everything. And they were very good about it. They, I haven't checked my credit card statement. They said they were going to refund. So I'll have to... But when you can't remember which credit card you've used to buy the thing in the first place, then it's a bit of... touch and go whether you're going to ever find out whether they have actually given you your money back, but they said they did. But and I got 8 gigs. They said 2,000 songs. This is just to because I'm not one of these people that walks down the street with the headphones in, because I think, no offence, those people look like dopes. But I just wanted to take it, when you go away on holiday on your jolly hollies. 2,000 songs. How could anybody want more than that just to go on holiday? But as soon as you start putting it in, you think, oh, blimey, this is filling up quite quickly. So then I got the one that was 10 times that. Not 2,000 songs, 20,000 songs. Hurrah! Which is ridiculous. I mean, I would have to do nothing on holiday but listen to music 24 hours a day to have a hope of even getting through half of them. But anyway, this is just an example of how adults can waste their lives by looking at computers. And that's fine, because our brains are fully... they ain't going to get no better than what they are now. Not nor nothing.
It's making our eyes worse as well, I reckon.
Yeah, that and other things. Just living makes your eyes worse.
I think I'm on the downward slope already.
But I think for children, it's absolutely the last thing that they want, because whether it's lean forward or lean back screens... Because they sort of differentiate these two things, don't they? Lean forward is when you're actually involved with something that's on the screen, i.e. using a computer for games or whatever. Lean back is the part that I prefer, where you're just slumped with the drool dripping off your chin, watching your favourite teleprograms. No thought required. Much my favourite position to be in. Because we're never going to improve us. I'm never going to be any better than I am right now. Hate to break the news to you, but that's actually true. But for a child, the world is his omelette. Anything is possible. And the government seems to be going in exactly the wrong direction, yet again. It seems to be counterintuitive what they're proposing, virtually forcing children to have an interest in computers and television, thereby turning their brains off the moment they turn the machine on. And this is what this doctor is saying now. He's a member of the Institute of Biology in London and an associate fellow of the British Psychological Society, so he's not just some dope. You know, he knows a thing or two. He said that teachers are legally required to show children as young as 22 months how to turn on and operate televisions and computers. For what possible reason? Why? I mean, it's easy to turn on a television. You just click the little symbol that says... I don't even know what it says, but it's like a circle with a line in it, something like that.
Standby.
Television viewing among under 3s has been linked to poor mathematical ability, poor reading recognition, poor comprehension in later years. Educational DVDs for babies and toddlers are thought to hold back language acquisition, and screen viewing at all ages from 1 to 14 is associated with attention damage. In other words, attention deficit. Every kid these days has got attention deficit disorder. They're playing up in class, and they're stabbing people in the school break. All because they switched on a computer too early. They can't concentrate on anything anymore, because if once you've played a video game with all this stuff pouring through your eyeballs, real life's boring. It seems obvious to me, but Gordon doesn't seem to get it. I'll come back in a moment. Call me if you like, 0845 6060 973. It's 8:15. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thank you very much, Nick. Well, tonight, still problems on...
So what we doing?
Carol, we're doing Zoltan in Berkshire.
Oh, hi there, Nick.
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Good to talk to you again. Just the report you read out there. I mean, as far as statistics go, that is spot on. I mean, I've got a 14-year-old, and he's obsessed with the computer. You know, he's got a couple of games on there which he's addicted to.
Yeah.
There's RuneScape, and there's this new racing game. I've got him. It's connected to broadband, so he can race other people around the world with the earpiece, and he talks to them.
Oh, really?
It's probably the worst thing that I've just bought him, actually, for Christmas. But,
well, it could have been a drum set. You maybe got off lightly.
I don't know. Yeah, well, the drum set would have done my head in, but this computer and playing the games is doing his head in. You look at him, I mean, if I don't... He plays it in the morning before he goes to school.
Really?
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, on the weekend I let him play, he can have free-for-all. And he looked absolutely knackered, you know, with his eyes and...
Yeah.
You know, you saying slamming doors. If I say to him, come off, you know, give him an hour's notice, you're off in an hour, that's it. He's stomping his feet and everything else.
Well, you know what? I think that you hit on it right at the beginning when you said addicted to it. It is like... I'll take the word like out of that sentence. It is a drug.
It is. It is. And if you take it away from them, they have withdrawal symptoms.
Yes, precisely. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, especially in these, you know, in this time of year with the conditions, they speak to their friends on MSN, I think it is, or mobile, or...
Yeah.
You know, they don't go out anymore. You know, going back to probably when we remember the black and white Binatone, where you used to have the table tennis.
Yes.
You know, it was so useless.
Those bats never stayed still, did they? They always flopping about, they were.
Absolutely. But this is so high-tech, you know, he's got his new telly. And you say about the lean-back screen, the forward screen, he lays on his bed sideways, so that goes out the window with, you know, any, you know, the shape the screen goes.
Well, you know, I'm thinking this, probably a lot of people at home are shouting at the radio, saying, well, you're his dad.
That's right.
Do something about it.
That's right, but like you say, it's like a drug. You tell him to come off it, and it's, you know, it's just a nightmare.
Well, now, hang on. So you're letting him fry his brain because it's easier for you?
Yeah, I do take him off it, you know, when it, you know, sometimes we fall out over it, you know, right, I'm going to bed, you know, all this rubbish, and then I feel guilty, I say, all right, another half an hour and that's it.
Now, am I right in thinking that that one of the problems today with parenting is that, as opposed to in the previous generations, parents these days want to more be friends with their kids than authority figures?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm 40, he's 14, and it's just him and me. You know, I'm a single parent, but he has a mother, so I use single lightly.
Yeah.
So I find it, you know...
But you're the only parent in the house?
I am indeed, yeah.
Right. So you're finding it difficult to be strict dad because you have to be nice mum as well?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't want to upset him too much because, you know, I'm supposed to be here to make him happy, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely frying his brains, which is, it sounds stupid to say.
Well, has he got a telly has he got all this in his room?
He has indeed. He's just got a 32-inch plasma for his, you know, Christmas, because his birthday's on the 19th of December.
Can you adopt me?
No, not really. But that's the way it goes, you know. I suppose if you are single, there's no balance, you know. You know, I know right from wrong, but I recommend to anyone not to get this earpiece for the... But if you get the PlayStation 3, you need to get all the bits to
go with it. Yeah, that's how they get you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't realise it. You know, and when he's talking to his friends doing the racing, I can look round the door and say, "Look, 5 minutes," and he ignores me.
Well,
not because he's ignoring me; he can't hear me.
No, that's right.
You know?
He's not on. He's not on this planet. He's on.
That's right. And as far as sports goes, that's getting less and less. You know, you can see the weight coming on a little bit where, you know, there's no exercise anymore.
Well, seriously, mate, you've got to do something about it.
I will.
Is that a real I will?
No, it is, because it's been going on for not a long time, it's a couple of months, but, you know, not only that, it's the eyesight. I said you can't focus on one picture in the same focus, you know, you'd be wearing glasses by the time you're 15, 16.
Yeah.
There's loads of things, but yeah, I recommend do not encourage these kids to go on the internet and play around the world with other kids racing, and it's just a different world, you know.
Yes. Right, okay, well that's a word from the front line. Thanks a lot, Zoltan. Cheers, mate.
You're welcome. See you again. Bye.
Huh. Now, we didn't have any of that stuff when we were kids. None of that. We didn't have snuff videos. We weren't talking to our mates in Australia on the World Wide Wait. Didn't have TVs in our rooms. I mean, that was absolutely unheard of. Who had not even the royal family had TVs in their rooms. I bet the Queen doesn't have a TV in her bedroom. That's a good point about bedrooms, by the way. Bedrooms are for... Any psychologist will tell you this, or therapist of any stripe will say, bedrooms are for sleeping. That's it. No TVs, don't read in there, don't even have the radio on in there, because it will disturb your sleep patterns, because you don't associate that room with sleeping.
Mine's alright, my bedroom's so small I can't fit a TV in it anyway. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Please, tell me more.
Stop whining!
How about Queen's Park? Hello, Claudia.
Hello.
Claudia.
Hi, good evening, Nick.
How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. Yourself?
Yes, good.
Good.
That's the pleasantries out the way.
I'm trying to put a little voice in regarding children and television.
Yeah, go on then.
I don't have a television.
You don't have a television?
No, in the 21st century, and I think for better reasons. I find that when I had a television about 5 years ago, the family unit was kind of separated because everybody was engrossed in watching television.
Right, so what's the family in your house? Who have you got?
Parent.
Okay, with children?
Yes,
It's
one
still at home, right, okay.
But the unfortunate thing about it is I recognize and I observe that my child was basically engrossed in watching television. He was interested in what I did, but I didn't think it was enough.
Right.
So I made a constructive decision because those things were affecting his studies. So I made a decision that if I didn't have a television, we will get the time to have conversations around the kitchen table.
Like a family. So how old was he at that time?
Well, we had a black and white TV until he was about 7 years old. He's 16 now.
Yeah.
And up until 5 years ago, I decided no television.
Right, so he was about 11 when you said no. And how did that news go down?
Not very good. He thought I was a very mean mum.
Yeah.
I wasn't up to date with fashion.
No, quite.
And I was just very stern because I was very concerned about his studies.
Yeah.
And his attitude was blatantly changing, you know.
Did he say, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you?
Yes, he did say that to start off with, you know. But the fortunate thing is that he came around within 2 weeks because what you don't have, you don't miss.
Well, that's absolutely true. You know, I consume vast amounts of television, probably far more than is good for any human being, but when I go on holiday, I see nothing. And so I go immediately cold turkey, and you know what? The overriding sensation is that I don't miss it at all.
But the absence of television has sharpened his mind, because he began to look at his own family to start off with, his immediate surroundings,
right.
people who are around him.
And have you noticed a change in his, I want to say another word from behaviour, his sort of mood? Yes.
I mean, he's calmer now. And even though every so often, when he goes to school and the program comes on, and they're teasing him, oh, you didn't get to see that, it's very much, oh, yes, okay, Mom, why don't I have a television in my room?
Yeah.
Even myself as an adult, I experience that at work when a program comes on and is being discussed at work. Oh, yes, you don't have a television, you know, but...
And it does make you, it does probably received with a sharp intake of breath, because you're like an alien, right?
It doesn't actually, because I find that I don't have any time wasted. What actually happens is I've used the absence of television time to do other things.
I can only dream of doing other things, Claudia.
Not dream, actually practically do something.
Right.
I spend the time because I'm an artist, I paint.
Oh, yeah.
So, technically, I use the time, sometimes 5 hours, 6 hours, which I would have sat behind a television to do what I enjoy doing.
Right. Well, I've got a bedroom at home that needs painting. You should pop over.
I'd love to do that. Murals, one of my things. I mean, but in his case, the most important thing is the fact that he has a quality time in understanding where he's come from.
Right. And so you've tried it, and so far it's a success.
I believe so.
Right.
And I think with children of that age that we're talking about here, under 5 or perhaps under 7, their minds are really forming. So we need to guide them to look at the cultural differences around them.
Right.
Fair enough to go globally, but what we are missing is today's children, as most people have expressed on some of your programs, children running around, they're bored, they're doing many things. But we have to understand that there are some talented children, gifted children out there. And if we plonk television in front of them, they would use the time watching television. They would not develop on those.
You might as well take their brains out and just pop it in a soup.
Well, there you are.
Yeah.
What I try to say to my child is the fact that the television, the characters on television are bought times.
Are what?
Bought times. You know, they are paid for
bought.
Yes.
Right, bought.
They are paid for specific programs and characterization.
So am I, Claudia. I'm bought and paid for.
Well, there you are. At least you're making a living out of it, and constructively.
Yeah, Claudia, I've got to go, because here comes the news. But thanks a lot. It was nice talking to you. All right. This is LBC 97.3. I'm listening, Jenny. You can talk to me.
Hi, yeah, I hope you are.
Jenny.
Yes, I was just listening to the lady just now, and she sounded very, very positive in her attitude with the TV and the computers and everything, which is admirable. But it is really difficult for parents because of the, peer pressure at school. It's so tough for parents to actually say, a definite no, although I personally, would.
But you know what? I can remember parents saying no all the time when I was a kid. No, they'd say. And you'd go, oh, well, all right then. And that'd be the end of it.
I agree, and I would, and I did with my own kids. I'm a grandparent now.
Well, what did you say no about? Oh, to your grandparent. Okay, so this was the computers in the rooms. That wasn't, excuse me, that wasn't what you were saying no to, right?
No.
It was other stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But, there was television in the house, and they were allowed to watch a certain amount of it.
Right, but that's fine, because the TV's in the front room, and then you can check how much they're watching. But if you stick it in their bedroom, then they could be up till 5 at night watching, I've got no idea what's on at 5 at night, but it probably isn't very good for you.
No, it can't be. When I was a reception teacher, I was amazed at how many 4-year-olds, because the kids I taught were 4, how many of them were given television for Christmas and birthdays.
Yeah.
Well,
we've already spoken to a parent that gave his kid a 32-inch flat-screen TV for his room for Christmas.
I'm just flabbergasted. And now the government is giving them the okay. Yes, this is a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Get your 21 months old to turn on the TV or
That's right. Well, they obviously didn't think about this. They thought, oh, here's a good idea. We'll look like we're fast forward and up with, with it, and we'll put forward some suggestion like children have to be fully conversant with computers by the age of, by 2.
Yeah.
Without thinking, hang on a minute, the other side of this is they're going to be just pouring their brains into a screen from the age of 2. Is that a good idea?
Well, the thing that struck me when you first, because I'd not known about it until you just read it out, and I was just amazed because the thing that all very young children need is interaction with people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you remember talking to people, don't you?
Yeah, just. And it just astounds me. I mean, my grandson's 5, and he spends time with us here, and once the television is on, it's as though nobody else is in the room.
Yeah, it's like a little switch has been tricked in their mind, and they just lose contact with reality.
Absolutely, and you call him for dinner or whatever, and it's, no, the Kevin thing.
Yeah, but to be fair, I'm like that too.
Oh, perhaps you ought to be called Kevin then.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, what I was about to say was that when I was teaching in reception class, it just astounded me at how late these 4-year-olds were up watching television. They'd come in and tell me the next day what they'd watched that night. And I'd be thinking, well, I was going to bed at 9 o'clock and it was on then.
Well, that could quite possibly be what their parents think they're doing. They think they're going to bed, but, if they've got a TV in the room, what's more exciting than turning on the telly? Or which would you prefer? Go to sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
Or watch people being shot on TV?
And that's the point, isn't it? You don't know what they're watching.
Well, yeah.
So, you can watch what they, take interest in what they're doing before they go to bed and, stop them watching certain things. But if they've got a TV in their room, then, as you say, then you're not going to know what they're watching.
Yeah, I think, that just seems incredible to me that children have TVs in their room. I mean, of all the bad ideas in the world, that's got to be right up there.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot, Jenny.
Okay, then.
Cheers,
Bye.
ta-ra. 0845 6060 973. And she touched on something there as well about what it is that they're watching, because I've always been, in psychology there's the a debate about whether watching violent programmes makes you violent or has a cathartic effect that just takes the violence out of you in a safe way and you feel calmer for it. And I've always, up to relatively recently, sided with hippies, who will say that if you watch, violent movies and TV programmes, it won't make you more violent because it will be violence that you're experiencing, and so it has that effect of lessening the desire to go out and punch Granny because you've just seen it on telly. But I think, as with other issues in life that you start out being liberal and woolly about, and then you end up turning into Norman Tebbit. Not quite, but I'm sort of siding with the other side now. I've gone over to the dark side. Because in respect of what it is that they're watching, this chap who is who I was referring to earlier on, this chap, Associate Fellow of the British Psychological Society, and, I don't know, I mean, he's not just some dope off the street. He has some clue as to what he's talking about. And before I say this, I'd have to say that for every person that you find in psychology that will say what I'm about to say, you'll find somebody else who says, oh, no, it isn't. But this is what he says. In addition to violent programs, DVD recordings and computer games are known to cause changes in brain functions affecting impulsiveness and aggression. And we start to think maybe this is one of the reasons that society has got itself into the position that it has. Flip open any newspaper and it will be stabbings and shootings and muggings and, all the rest of it. And we sort of wring our hands and we think, well, why? Why has it got like this just lately? Is it because the communication technology, the communication revolution, means that we just know about stuff that was happening ordinarily? Or have we actually, as a people, lost our minds? And if so, why? And why so relatively quickly? Televisions and computers are also helping to breed overweight and obese couch potato children, he added. Children and adults have been found to eat more in front of the television, even when not physically hungry. Possibly because watching television distracts them from the internal cues telling them that they've eaten enough. And that's certainly true of watching movies. You ask for some popcorn. I never would, because to me it smells like feet. But you buy some popcorn, and it comes with a bucket that could feed Ethiopia. And you sit there grazing. Why they sell in a cinema a snack that's quite that noisy, I have no idea. But it's like this constant, this sort of
crunching.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's not drums. It's percussion. It's like low percussion behind you throughout. Nobody needs to eat for 2 hours, continuous. I mean, how hungry are you? Have a meal.
This is just because people, like you said, they have no attention span.
Yeah,
really.
that's right. They're not paying attention. Yeah, they're not paying attention to what. Well, no, I think it's because when they're eating, they're not paying attention to the eating part. That's just automatic behaviour. They're actually. It's almost as though they're releasing the tension of what it is that they're watching by just having oral pleasure while they're doing it, without even thinking about it. Yes, that's right. Oral pleasure.
It is really hard to... if you just try and sit still without doing anything with your hands, like in the modern world, it's quite difficult these days.
What are you, 5?
Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
I think that's why people need popcorn. And,
well, that's absolute nonsense.
Because they're sitting there and they realise,
just sit still, boy.
It's because your hands are used to keyboards and mobile phones. And
get lost.
They need something to hold.
No, they don't. Just keep them still. Sit still.
Well, I think that's the problem. I think people find it really hard to do that these days.
Well, I'm stunned.
They're not used to it.
Well, it's just ridiculous.
I mean, how often do you get the chance just to sit down or lie down when you're not sleeping, when you haven't gone to bed, and you just do nothing?
I'm doing nothing right now. British children aged 11 to 15 now spend 55% of their waking lives in front of television.
What?
55% of their waking lives in front of television. And I include computers in that, because computers are television too. He added that more than half of 3-year-olds have televisions in their bedrooms, and a quarter of Britain's 5-year-olds have their own computer. He claims that with a screen in their bedroom, they're less likely to be able to read by the age of 6, and that early viewing led to more time spent with televisions and computers in later life. So, to recap, you don't get any sleep, it makes you fat, you are disinclined to go out and play, they prevent you from learning how to read, and so you'd think to write. They cut you off from the real world so that you're not actually interacting with people anymore. We're turning out illiterate, violent, fat zombies. Perhaps that's where it went so wrong. Thurrock, hello, Greg.
Hi, mate.
Greg.
All right. Yeah, the TV debate.
Yeah.
I'm constantly staggered by the indifference of people's attitude towards television and their children, and it's a completely unresolved debate that's affecting human culture.
Well, it hadn't really occurred to me before. I hadn't put 2 and 2 before literally just reading that just now. Maybe that's the reason why. If it is true, if it's not just over-reporting of terrible incidents, and that kids these days really are kind of off the rails, perhaps, and everyone's searching around to try and find a reason, maybe that's it.
Well, I don't think that it's a one-trick answer.
Well, no, but this is the first generation to grow up with TVs and computers in their bedrooms.
Yeah, and an endless supply of different drivel that can come into their bedrooms.
Of some visually exciting, fast-moving nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, and totally unprotected by their parents. I mean, the parents wouldn't leave a stranger in their bedroom with their kids, but they're quite happy to leave the TV screen there.
Yeah.
And who was the guy that gave the report to Parliament?
The guy who gave the report to Parliament. Which report?
The one you were talking about.
Oh, no, this isn't a report to Parliament. This is a guy called Dr. Arik Sigman. He's just speaking out. He gave a lecture to the Institute of Biology in London, which is this is what is being reported.
Right, because there's a book. There's a very important book, Remotely Controlled. It's called.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the guy that wrote it, but it's depressing at the same time as it's informative. But it is astonishing, what this guy's come up with in his studies, and it's never been discussed fully. And of course, how are you going to find this out? Through the media, through TV? They're going to tell you all this stuff? I don't think so.
No.
That's the catch-22.
Shooting themselves in the foot.
You're never going to get the TV taking any of this seriously, and they will prop up as many psychiatrists as they can afford to refute any of these claims.
Well, absolutely. It's like the smoking industry. They're not going to tell you that their products kill.
No.
They'll do everything they can to try and obscure that fact.
That's right. And kids, kids' brains aren't fully developed. That's the one thing that it's so blatantly obvious that, that they have to interact with other human beings. But they're just sat down in front of a one-way stream of information.
That's right.
And emotions.
It seems to make perfect sense to me. I mean, it's just Shatner's in the face, and the people who matter, the government, don't seem to get it.
Yeah,
maybe they just haven't thought it through. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and TV is promoted as being, buy this, 40-inch screen for your kids because that shows that you love
them. Yeah,
the whole thing. Rather than just say, hey, you know what, we're going to sit down and talk.
Ugh.
It's. I hate the whole industry.
Yeah. What's that book called?
Remotely Controlled.
Right. I'll wait till it comes out on DVD. Thanks, Greg.
All right,
8:45. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
And there are still problems on the trains tonight.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
I'm going to give you a question. You mull this over, and unless you actually know the answer, you read it in a paper. But it's quite possible that you didn't, because I believe that I picked this out of The Guardian, and no one reads The Guardian. When I come down, I do most of the work at home. When I come down, I pick up some of the papers that I haven't seen at home. The only one that is still in its original format, with all the leaves and the sections still in place, that has been unmolested by anyone, is The Guardian. No one reads it. Anyway, it was talking about a .com. Not .com, in fact, a .co.uk. Some smart people, wouldn't it be great to have a time machine? Somebody's, time travel will shortly be possible. In fact, we all might explode or implode, or we might just disappear like that shortly, because someone is going to bend time shortly. I might get that to that later on, if we have time. But if you could go back in time and buy up some .co.uk's and .coms, I mean, you wouldn't have to go back very far, would you? You'd just have to, at the time, you'd just have to have thought of the possibilities and spent virtually nothing at all on it, and you'd be able to put your feet up and smoke a cigar for the rest of your life. Just have a wild stab in the dark. And this was just recently sold. What you think the most expensive .co.uk Ural is. As in the address line that goes before .co.uk. Now, I'll give you a piece of information. It's not sex.co.uk, but the most expensive .co.uk ever bought was just sold recently. You just have a ponder and see what you think that might be. Berkshire, Maury.
Maury. Hello. Hi, Nick.
Hey, Maury.
Hi, no, I was just listening to a chap that was on a little while ago. He was talking about his 14-year-old son, and he's obviously bought him this Xbox Live thing for his bedroom. I've got 3 kids, one of 16, one of 6, and one of 16 months. My 16-year-old has television in his bedroom. He has Xbox Live. He also has Sky. We've got multi-room, and he has Sky in his bedroom. He does not spend, every possible waking minute in his bedroom, because I simply would not allow it. I've got a 6-year-old who also has television in his bedroom. It's not rigged up to the outside world. He can watch a video or a DVD. That, from my perspective, is used as a bargaining tool, in respect of, it's a treat. If you want to go and watch telly in bed before you have to go to sleep, and you don't want to read a book tonight, then, okay, if you do this and you do that, you can have one film. When that's finished, telly goes off. I think that one of the huge problems that we have in society is that parents in this day and age appear to be afraid to say no to their children. And I think that derives from a society of whereby, I believe it may well have been Tony Blair, but I don't know, several years ago said all of a sudden, children, nobody can tell you what to do.
Yeah, this has happened just lately, that children seem to be aware of their rights.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I'm only 36. I'm far from over the hill, but I remember when I was a teenager, all the authority figures in my life, be it teachers, parents, police, aunties, uncles, they all sang from the same song sheet. You know, we knew what was right and what was wrong as children. My children know what is right and what is wrong, and certainly in our household, myself and my husband, we sing from the same song sheet. If my husband says no, then no it is. I don't go back on that word.
Let me voice the thoughts of what I imagine some listeners are thinking. You don't, from what you've described, you don't sound like a parent who says no a lot. You've got kids with TVs in their bedroom. They've got game what's-its in their bedroom, and it sounds like they've got. And he's got Sky Plus in his bedroom. He's got no end of stuff. He's better off than I am.
It's all monitored. It's all regulated. I mean, you know, the Sky in the bedroom, for example. You know, I can control it. There's pin codes on it. He can't watch anything that's over a set, and you know, a rating, etc., etc. And when I say telly off, it is telly off, and there are no arguments about it in our house. That is the way we've done it.
And how is their sleeping?
They sleep very well.
Right, because there is a lot of evidence to suggest that if you've got television in your room, then you can have problems in getting to sleep because you don't associate your room just with sleeping. You associate it with...
I have the problem at the opposite end of the scale. We can't get them out of bed, you know.
Oh, okay.
Right. But they do sleep well. But, you know, I just think that, you know, in this day and age, you know, there is... I think television as well, you know, I don't agree with children that sit and watch telly and don't... Because absolutely they don't learn to interact with people.
Yeah.
You know, and I do believe that certainly at the younger age, you know, their level of communication skill becomes quite deemed by it. However, it can also be used as a fantastic educational element as well. In this day and age, you know, the world that is out there, I think by removing the television completely, I think you're also stripping these kids of perhaps learning what actually life is really like outside the front door. Because long as gone is the day when, as we were kids, your mother threw you out in the summer holidays at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know, there was a Timmy, go play, your dinner will be at 6, be back, and take the dog with you. You just could not, and we didn't have mobile phones, and nobody could contact you. Nobody knew who you were. You couldn't possibly do that with your children in today's society. And I
guess it depends where you live, and it depends how much you take on board these scare stories, because it's still true that they're more likely to come to harm in the house than outside.
Oh, indeed, yeah. I mean, but I also remember at the age of, you know, 7 and 8, being, you know, as I say, being thrown out the door on a Saturday morning or whenever it was. Mum had things to do. You all went out to play. I mean, I've got 6-year-old coming up for 7. I wouldn't possibly dream of opening the door and giving him a rucksack with his lunch in it and saying, right, take the dog and come back at tea time.
Yeah.
Just would not to do it, whereas we did it when we were children. So they are more restricted, I think, and certainly from a responsible parent's point of view, you obviously have to keep an eye on them. You need to know where they are. You need to know what they're doing. So they are more restricted in respect of, if I've got things to do, I can't always get them out up to the lookout or the woods or wherever it is they want to go for the day. So yes, the television is on in the house. However, if I say no, telly off, let's read, let's do this jigsaw, let's play a game, let's sit down and have dinner together, that is exactly what happens. Because as soon as I'm met with obstruction from it, I'll remove it.
Strict mummy, eh?
It's as simple as that. I'll remove it and you earn it back.
Okay, thanks a lot, I'm sorry, what is it? Mari. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Mari. Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
A
Bye.
parent who says no. You remember no, don't you?
No.
It is quite easy. It's one of the smallest words in the language.
No.
Yeah.
Let's have Walton on Thames. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Chris.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to put across another point of view on this issue with kids playing games excessively.
Yeah, go on.
I'm 26, and I've been playing, I have been on and off playing games since I was about 12. At one point in my life, when I was about 22, I got so heavily into games that it almost ruined my life. to the point where I lost my girlfriend, I almost lost my job, and I lost where I was living as well, because I would spend so long on the game that I would go to bed at 3 in the morning, get up at 6 to go to work, and not have the energy to go ahead and lead a normal life.
Right. So what I said earlier on seems true in your experience, that it is really addictive.
It is. It's a complete drug. However, the other side of it is, now that I've learned to control it, I still do play games on a regular occasion, not as much as before. I mean, in my previous days, I used to play it 7 days a week for 5-6 hour stints at a time. Now I play it maybe 2-3 times a week for a couple of hours. And I have noticed there's a few reasons why I would think kids would want to play them still. One is the social interaction. Games have evolved a heck of a lot since the old days. Nowadays,
you can interact with people and kill them. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's that is one side. I'm strong belief in that people need to treat the games a lot more like they treat films. You wouldn't, for example, let your 9-year-old watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, quite.
And for the same thing, there is already, the BBFC do rate games.
Yeah, they do. Chris, I'm really sorry, mate, but I'm coming towards the news. But thanks for calling, all right.
Okay.
This is LBC 97.3. I'm on about 3 games a week now, man.
Thank you for holding. Your call's important to us.
Nick Ferrari, tomorrow morning, we'll be talking about, should Sharia law be instated in the UK? Oh, let's have a think about that. No. Are you too exhausted to play with your children, or is it just a little boring? You couldn't make this up. We speak to the man whose mum sold her house to help him lose 44 stone. And Brian Paddock is live in the studio from 9 o'clock. Join Nick. He will tackle the topics of the day every weekday from 7 a.m. First call on any subject in this hour is from the Docklands, and it's a chap called Colin. Colin.
Hello, Nick.
Yes,
I'm just phoning around about the subject that you were talking about a short while ago regarding children, and I think that what's really important is to get the children while they're really young. Once they get to sort of 10, 11, I think you've pretty much lost the opportunity to get them on board.
On board in what sense?
As in trying to sort of get them away from the television, get them away from computer games, and I had exactly this sort of situation with my children where they got to the age where they wanted to watch programs and they wanted to play computer games, and we sort of didn't want to sort of prevent them from doing the things that they wanted to do, but by the same time we wanted to balance it. So a friend of mine and I, who had children of the same age, what we did was we started to look around sort of board games and stuff like that, sort of going back to basics, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So we couldn't find a game that could be played by the youngest child, sort of 3-4 years of age, plus Nan and Grandad and sort of everyone in between.
Really?
So and
I thought most board games were sort of from child to.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, that's what we thought. But when you actually look at them, a lot of family board games are aimed at certain sections of the family.
Right.
If they're question-based, usually the questions are so difficult that a youngster can't play them.
Right.
If they're kind of, the sort of game where you've got to whack an animal or something like that, Nan and Grandad, it's not dignified to watch Nan and Grandad having to,
whack-a-mole.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So we set about making our own game.
Really?
And so what we've ended up with several years on is a game, because what we wanted to do was challenge all the things. We wanted to get rid of the board, because families now don't sit around the table often like they traditionally did. They'll sit in the hot tub, they'll be in the car, they'll be on a plane.
In the hot tub?
Exactly. That's where families will come together now.
Only very rich families, Colin.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. Or those with a lot of credit.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But yeah, that was the thing. So we wanted to get rid of all the things that you would traditionally expect from
What's this?
a game.
I Spy with My Little Eye, something like that.
And a board and a dice, and we wanted to get rid of all that.
Yeah.
So we came up with a game that can be played with the youngest kid. And the thing that we needed to do was get the thing that links the youngest child with Nan and Grandad. And it was that element of suspense that kids like with things like Lucky Dips and Pass the Parcel.
Right.
And Nan and Grandad like with things like Bingo and stuff like that. And
Now, is this something that you could package and sell?
Oh, it's on the internet. It's available on the internet.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So
It's a
do you in fact sell it?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a game called...
So this is like an advert now.
Well, no, it's not intended, but it was born out of exactly the frustrations. But this is the whole key to it, you've got to get the children when they're young.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the intention of the advert, but it's say to people that it doesn't need to cost a lot of money to entertain the children, wherever you are, and it's about getting them while they're young, and, you know, wherever you are, whether you're camping, whatever you're doing, to sort of just get the kids, get them playing games, and you'll be surprised just how much they enjoy it. I mean, the kids that we've sort of, you know, trialled it with and stuff like that, they love it. And it's amazing that when they're young, that they actually want to have a lot of fun with their parents and Nan and Grandad and stuff like that. But what is difficult is the fact that when you start to look, and having found yourself in that situation, when you start to look, there's very, very few games where you can entertain the kids and, you know, the family as well, without people... And a lot of the games are just too complicated.
Well, a lot of them are too boring, aren't they? They just go on too long, and and you set it all up, and then you've lost interest after about half an hour.
Exactly. The classic sort of Monopoly, most people don't even play by the actual rules, but all of those sort of games... and then you've got the other thing, a lot of games are aimed at 2 to 4. Well, if you've got Nan, Grandad, Mum and Dad and 2 kids, which is kind of the average, I would suggest, make up of the family, a game for 4 people is no good, a game for 2 is no good.
Yeah.
So if you get a game like Connect 4 or whatever, then that's no good.
Yeah, half the people are left out, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm kind of curious as to what your game is, but after this big sell beforehand, I don't think we're allowed to say what it is.
Oh, right.
Isn't that... I'm going to go to my producer to say whether we can or not. Because it sounds like an advert now, doesn't it?
Yeah, best leave it unmentioned.
Well, we'll wish you good luck with that, Colin.
All right.
And,
thanks a lot, Nick.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. 0845 6060 973. How very unsatisfying.
I thought I was going to say it was Buckaroo.
I want to know what it is now. Oh, well, what a pity, never mind. So, any ideas? .co.uk? Just the vague area. What sort of category is it in? The most expensive .co.uk sold in this country. Well, obviously in this country.
You said it wasn't property, right?
Not property.
And not sex.
Not sensual pleasures. No, surprisingly enough.
Would it be .co.uk? Has anyone got that one?
I can always rely on you to say the stupidest things. The price for British domain names is still well behind the levels reached for US or .com addresses. Sex.com remains the world's most expensive domain name after it was bought a little while ago. And this is what I mean about going back in time. I mean, for property as well, you know, if you'd bought a bit of the Docklands 30 years ago, they'd be virtually giving it away. Now, you'd be a trillionaire. But if you could just go back in time and buy sex.com, you'd be sitting on $12 million. Isn't that incredible? Many of the other top US names changed hands during the dot-com boom of the late 90s, including business.com for $7.5 million and beer.com for $7 million. That's right. Any, you want to... I'm just filling while you think.
Is it cats?
Cats.co.uk. No. All right. Shall I put you out of your mystery?
Yeah.
Please.
It used to be sex that mattered most, but the world of the internet domain names was rocked by a more genteel pleasure the other day, as a tour operator made cruises.co.uk the UK's most expensive piece of .com property.
What?
I know.
Do loads of people go on cruises?
Apparently, it's the popularity of these things is through the roof. The website, cruise.co.uk, has paid the German travel company, Nies Reisen, for £560,000 for the rival name cruises.co.uk. The price paid for that extra S... OK, so they've got cruise.co.uk, and in order to make a nice pair, they bought cruises.co.uk, and they spent over £500,000 just to get the S. It's the price for the price paid for the extra S in the address, called the domain name, dwarfs the last British.com domain name. And this is also incredible. What do you think the second most expensive was?
You're
thinking
internet,
safaris.
Well, it's what you said is no more daft than what it actually is. It is recycle.co.uk.
No.
Yep. That was bought by City Financiers ASAP Ventures for $150,000 in October. But I suppose that there's a lot of money in that whole green thing. I mean, all these oil companies are trying to paint themselves green now, aren't they? Got adverts that are the colour green, and look at us, we're stroking the environment, not harming it.
Apparently it's the way forward.
But yeah, absolutely, because people want to feel good about themselves. It's like giving to charity. People want to feel good about themselves by pretending that they're saving the planet without actually changing their routine in any way. We don't want to be, excuse me, we don't want to be inconvenienced in any way, but we want to feel like we're actually making a positive difference. Mm-hmm. And, and that might be part of that. The price for British domain names is still well behind the levels reached in the US. As I said before, $12 million for sex.com. But cruises, yeah, massive. The new owner of cruises.co.uk intends to cash in on a boom in cruising by turning the site into an online community for cruising enthusiasts. Doesn't that sound like something that footballers do in their off time?
Isn't it just old people, right, retired?
Well, no, our own Anthony, he's on tonight, probably, is he?
No, it's Bill tonight.
Oh, right. He's a keen cruiser. That just sounds rude, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just sounds wrong.
It's into an online community for cruising enthusiasts. Its existing cruise.co.uk will concentrate on offering deals on voyages. Cruises is consistently ranked first on Google, with cruise just behind. Can that possibly be true? Is there a way of finding that out? Do Google actually list their
stats?
Yeah, do they put their statistics on the World Wide Web?
Did you hear that? I think it's P&O are going to get a team of commandos to help with the breaking of the bottle on their new ship being launched.
Really? So there's no
definitely
mistakes,
yeah,
right?
There's no repeat of when.
And if it does break, they'll shoot it.
Yeah.
The cruise market is one of the fastest and most consistently growing sectors in the travel industry. The number of British people taking a cruise rose 11% to 135 million in 2007. 11% up, that's massive. This is according to the Passenger Shipping Association. The forecast is to grow to 2 million by 2012. Last year, cruise.co.uk was bought by... Oh, no, that's not very interesting. But yeah, cruises are absolutely through the roof, as our own Anthony Davis will tell you. He lives for them.
But you have to make friends with people on cruises, don't you?
I know.
If you're in a couple,
stuck on a giant damp hotel. It sounds like a night with no option of getting off. If you want to leave, then you die.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's 9:15. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thanks a lot, Nick. In the centre...
Trying to tell me that this is your act?
This? No one can make a living doing this. Now, there was also something about travel in the papers today about the least stressful way of going from one place to the next. Say you were going from here to Disneyland in Paris, because I pull that journey out of the air, because that's exactly the journey that they were talking about. Which would be the least stressful way of getting there? I'll leave you ponder that for a moment, and I'll come back to that. Here is Barnett. Hello, Carol.
Oh, hi.
Carol.
Hi, Nick. I'm back on the children and videos and what have you.
Right.
I was with my grandchildren the other night. My 9-year-old grandson was telling me about the stuff he'd heard at school, because his friends have got older brothers, and not basic stuff either, sort of sexual stuff, obviously, and as I say, not basic. And
your grandson was telling you?
My 9-year-old grandson was telling me. And, well, that's not the problem, apart from the fact he was also telling his 6-year-old sister. But when he also told his parents, they don't quite know how to react. Didn't react badly to it because, they're going to learn things. But while he was at school today, my daughter looked in what he's been Googling. Now, they're very strict. Some people think they're too strict. They're not allowed to having, games, what have you, any of these game things. They've got the computer in the lounge where they all are.
Yeah.
And yet, on his computer, he'd looked up all these words, and God knows what he came up with it. But
you know what, Carol? Can you remember back when you first had access to a dictionary?
Oh, absolutely. I had the dictionary out as well.
Because I know which words I looked up first in the dictionary.
Yeah, I know, but it's not so much the words; it was the images that might have come up that was more of a worry. Because they're going to know about these things, and that's not really a problem. But it wasn't just basic stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just a warning that just because they haven't got them in their rooms and they're not hidden away. They can still, you can't sort of be watching the screen with them the whole time.
No, that's right.
And they use them for homework and stuff like that, so they do use them all the time.
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to say that really. It's just a worry what images come up. It's not so much the word.
Right. Okay, thanks for that, Carol.
Okay.
Cheers, Tara. Well, that's right. There is, even if you have the one computer in the family room, there's no way of preventing the nasty world from outside from creeping in. You just can't do it. But you'd have to say that logic suggests that you'd have a better chance of stemming the tide than if it was in their bedroom.
Problem is pop-ups, though.
Pop-ups? What are you saying? What? Control yourself, man.
You can
Stockwell.
block
Susie.
content, though.
Yeah, in internet cafes, you do get people coming onto your website, yeah, but most TVs have got child locks on, yeah?
In internet
cafes, you get people popping on and coming onto your website, but at home you can stop all that going on, yeah? You have certain situations or precautions you can work out with your internet provider to stop that happening, yeah?
Right. To a certain extent, I would think. Not completely, I wouldn't imagine.
Well,
I mean, there's not someone just sitting there deleting everything that doesn't look right. I mean, any sort of mechanical system isn't perfect.
I understand
but
that.
You could have a go at it, yeah.
I've never had it on my home computer. There's a lot of protection on my home computer.
Okay.
With the televisions also, you do have child lock mode, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Press the menu button, blah, 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 P button, whatever. But you can have a child lock system on and you can switch it off when you want. You can set it to switch it off yourself.
Huh.
And then you do have a previous program selection, so you can switch back to the previous program position watched. You can check what they were watching before, yeah?
Can you?
Yeah.
You see, now I'm quite technically minded, but I wouldn't know how to go about any of what you just said. You can see what programs they've just been watching.
Yeah.
How?
It's actually in TV information. It should be program information display. Press a certain button. You can switch back to the previous program position watched, so you can see what was watched before. It's quite technical, but never mind. And the other thing is, you can work with the internet provider and check what your child was up to on the internet.
Yeah. All this is like past tense, though, isn't it? I mean, they've seen it already.
Well, if you get them a computer, it's better if you can find out what their password is and what they're logging into.
Now it sounds like that's of the order of looking through their diary.
You have to go into the bookmarks and see what they're collecting in the bookmarks. It's quite complicated. I'd have to get onto my computer and check that. But there are ways of checking what someone's up to on the computer very easily.
Right.
And you can work with whatever internet provider. You can actually say you want to store it in a digital vault, so you can safely store, manage and share the personal data, photo, music, video files that are most important to you, or whoever's using the computer, yeah? But you can check, but I'd suggest you try and get a child lock on the TV, try and get a digital vault with an internet provider so you can check what's going on in the bedroom behind your back, yeah?
Okay.
And also doing computer classes somewhere, try and get internet web-wise or just internet-wise
Right. Okay.
On a really, really serious level, but it can be done. And if it all fails, just pull the fuse out of it.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, there is that off switch. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Susie. And I mean, like I say, I'm quite technically minded. I can usually figure anything out without looking at an instruction manual. But I wouldn't know how to go about half of the things that she just said. And I'm sure that if I don't, then, most parents who aren't that familiar with computers will be looking at each other going, what, how, who? Wandsworth. Hello, John.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks.
Yeah. I'm just like to talk about this business about this guy who thinks that children as young as 3 should be taught to use computers. I mean, that's ridiculous.
This is not a guy, this is the government.
Well, I don't care who it is. It's some guy in the government. I mean, when a child is 3 years old, right, they should be allowed to be children, and play and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 great-grandchildren. I'm 67 now. One's 11 and one's 13. And when they come over, I haven't got a TV in the house.
Well,
and they can't believe I haven't got a TV.
They must be horrified.
Yeah. I've got a computer, but it's not on the internet.
Right.
And I say, well, why don't you get it on the internet and get broadband?
Yeah.
And then you have TV and everything on the computer.
That's right.
I said, I don't want it. So they said, why not? I said, well, I do other things. So they said, what do you do? I said, well...
What is there to do?
I read, I've got books, I've got the radio, I've got friends I go and visit.
Yeah.
Or they come and visit me.
Right, that won't impress them very much.
The TV, I don't need it. Where it all started going wrong was when social services and the government and the local authorities started interfering with child care. When I was a child, if I got up to mischief, like scrumping or something, the local bobby called me.
Yeah.
He'd give me a fast clip round the ear, take me home, and I'd get another clip round the ear.
Yeah.
Right? And it wouldn't get dragged through the juvenile courts or anything like that.
No.
If I came home from school, right, and told my parents that I'd been caned, I'd get another hiding, and that was for doing something wrong.
Well, you're telling them.
Yeah, because they'd say...
The thing you did wrong was telling them, yeah.
Yeah. They'd say, well, you must have done something.
Yeah.
Otherwise they wouldn't have caned you.
That's right.
And that's discipline. That's not...
I mean, I got the belt, but I didn't go home and tell my parents about it.
No, you kept your mouth shut.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, you learn that way. This is where it's all gone wrong. Because, like, when kids are kids, they should be kids,
not adults. Not treated as adults, because unless you're behaving like an adult, which you can't really if you're a child.
Well, if you're 11 years old.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's not your job to be an adult, then you shouldn't be treated like an adult. And what a caller previously sort of pointed the finger at to Tony Blair, and it might not be his actual fault, but I think this happened on his watch.
Yeah.
He's a bloomin' lawyer.
I mean, it's so stupidity. See, the government is so far interfering in families and telling them how to raise children and do this and do that. Well, when I go over to stay with my grandchildren and their kids, and I'm laying out on the lawn, in a deck chair, and I've got my hat over my face and the sun.
Oh, what a beautiful picture you paint.
Yeah, that's all right. And then you've got the kids in the garden, and they're playing, and they've got their friends with them, and they say, who's that old geezer over there?
In the funny hat.
With the white beard, yeah. That's great granddad.
Yeah,
don't annoy him.
That's loony granddad, the bloke who hasn't got a telly. Yeah.
Because he knows everything you say and he remembers it, and he doesn't think nothing of a slap round the back of the head.
I'm calling social services. All right, thanks a lot, John. Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. So, what do you reckon? 0845 6060 973. What's the most... I'll go back to that question that I asked you a little while ago. If you were going from here to Disneyland Paris, of all the different modes of transport that you could take, and I'll give you a second so you can just churn that over in your mind, all of the different ones, which would be the least stressful?
Is it a helicopter picking you up from your own back garden?
Yeah, while you're under general anaesthetic. No! This is LBC 97.3, it's 9:30.
What it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
Me either, mate. 0845 6060 973. Okay, they did a test on how to take a trip in the least stressful way. God, I felt like I was falling over my face there. And the answer?
Bicycle?
Train.
No. Now, you said train, because of the power of advertising. Let the train take the strain, right?
No, he just likes trains.
Oh, right.
Huh.
Coach.
What?
Coach travel is the least stressful way of getting to a holiday destination, a search has found.
Really?
Yeah, a search conducted by national coaches. No. People travelling by coach are more likely to remain relaxed throughout their journey than those travelling by air, train or car. Now that's counterintuitive, isn't it? Train travel was most likely to raise the blood pressure, contradicting the popular belief that it was one of the most relaxing ways to travel long distances. Air travel was found to be the next most stressful. Well, that I can believe. But the train, I mean, I travelled to Paris on the Eurostar, and I found it to be a deeply relaxing and quite drunken experience.
Did you start as soon as you got on the train? Then?
Oh, yeah. Well, they come around and they start serving you booze. It's great. I loved it. In fact, I'd go just to go on the train journey. Never mind about getting off in Paris. But I treated myself. I didn't go in cattle class. I went sort of, you know, the equivalent of the rail equivalent of up the front. In the study, everything was calm apart from the buying the ticket part, where I missed my train because I was trying to because I bought an ordinary ticket and I tried to upgrade to executive seats.
Ooh, check you.
I know, but I'm worth it. And they took so long that I missed my train, because, you catch a train, you don't have to be on the train until it leaves, right? But I hadn't thought this through. You have to go through security, and then you have to go and get corralled into a little area, and then you can get on the train, and all this you have to do within a certain time before the train actually leaves. I was thinking I could just get my ticket and stroll on and get on the train, because I'd never done it before.
It's not like getting on the tube.
I hadn't got on the Euro, no, quite. And so I thought, oh, well, we've still got 20 minutes to go, no problem. They're taking a bit of time, and they said, oh, no, well, and they sort of faffed around for about 10 minutes, and then said, oh, well, the reason that this machine isn't spitting out your ticket is that the gates are about to close. And so I flipped out and had a screaming fit. I actually found myself screaming.
Was that the booze talking?
No, because I hadn't started drinking yet. It was quite early in the morning, just as the sun was rising.
Did you throw your bags on the floor and start stomping?
Yeah, well, I threw myself to the ground and screamed and screamed and screamed till I was sick. And no, I screamed until a customer representative came and calmed me down. He said, calm down, calm down.
Did it work?
And, well, yeah, he...
I bet all the French people there were tutting at you.
Yeah, they went.
Yeah.
And so he comped me an upgrade. So that's the thing. If you if you act like a right pain in the neck, yes, a spoilt brat,
throw your toys out the pram,
then you get free stuff. Anyway, coach travel. People travelling by coach more likely to remain relaxed throughout their journey than those travelling by air, train or car. Train travel was the most likely to raise blood pressure, contradicting the popular belief that it was one of the most relaxing ways to travel long distances. Air travel found to be the next most stressful. I've read that already, haven't I? In the study, which was carried out jointly by the travel magazine and a holiday operator, 4 families were fitted with heart rate monitors before travelling from Britain to Disneyland in Paris. Readings were taken before the trip and then every 30 minutes. So they're not just making this stuff up, it's science, says it. Letting the train take the strain appeared to set the pulses racing, according to this study. For the Eurostar participant, the pulse seemed to rise during the queue to get on the train. Well, that just might have been excitement, not stress exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you differentiate stress from excitement if you've got heart rate, if you're only looking at the heart rate?
True.
I see a chink in their... in the authority of this study, yeah.
Because coach travel is just so boring. You won't get excited at all.
No.
But... maybe it is less stressful to go by coach because at least you can see in front of you where you're going, whereas on a train and a plane you can't.
No, that's correct, yeah. Well, specifically on a plane, you do feel as though you have no control over your own destiny. You might as well, as as that plastic thing that's putting your seat back that alerts you to which door to... where your life jacket is, in the unlikely event that the plane is still in one piece as it smashes into the ocean, which would act as concrete going at that speed. Yeah, and here's a whistle and a light to attract attention. Yeah. And if that doesn't work, that'll do it. Yeah, so understandably with the plane, that's quite stressful. And I did find it a little bit stressful going into the tunnel, because thoughts were going in my mind, well, it's dark. Suppose there's a bit of track missing, or, some hoolie from France has come over and put,
Or it's leaking.
his bag on the line. Yeah, or it's exactly right. Yeah, you're under huge amounts of water. So that was a little bit stressful. Also, I thought, are my ears going to pop, and I'm not going to be able to hear anything during my entire holiday. The Eurostar participant, the pulse seemed to rise during the queue to get on the train. Then, during the mid-part of the journey itself, perhaps going through the tunnel was an anxious moment, said the spokesman for the holiday company. The pulse of the air passenger was also, who was the second most stressed participant, rose when the flight was delayed, and then when being transferred to the hotel by a shuttle bus, kicking and screaming, "No, I don't want to go." But the pulse rate of the coach passenger suggested a state of serenity.
They're asleep.
It rose only while waiting for the coach to turn up, and when fumbling for travel documents before the trip started. So that is one of the most counterintuitive studies I've read all week, that not only is the train not the most calm way to travel, according to this, it's the most stressful way, more stressful than flying.
Maybe it just depends on what sort of train you're travelling on.
Well, it was the Eurostar.
Yeah.
And the Eurostar, of course, are very upset about this, saying, oh, no, it's not, basically. They defended the reputation of the train as the most stress-free mode of travel. Eurostar is a hassle-free way to reach the continent. I mean, I don't want to advertise, but my experience was I liked it. But then I didn't travel, penned in like sheep to the slaughter. I don't know what those... they're probably perfectly comfortable. I don't know what they look like.
Did you venture into economy class at all?
Certainly not, no. Awful people sit there. Crawley. Hello, Ali.
Yeah, hello, mate.
Ali.
Yeah, mate. I just wanted to say something about the lady who spoke earlier about spying on children and, and ways to find out what they've been up to and stuff.
Yeah.
She's like every child's nightmare, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, if I was a child, I wouldn't like her to be my mom or something. And I wanted to tell you something. When you spy on children, because it was the case with me, with my parents, yeah?
Yeah.
They just lose the confidence and the trust on you. And plus, for example, if you catch them doing something wrong, yeah. It just affects their self-esteem, don't you think?
Well, there's two sides of it. If you feel as a child, if you feel as a child that you are being spied on all the time, then that might make you feel resentful towards your parents. On the other hand, if as a parent you've taken a peek at what your kid is looking at and stopped them from, I don't know, just taking a story that's been in the press for about the last month or so, committing suicide because they think it's a fashionable thing to do, then that would be a good thing.
No, you didn't get my point. I'm saying if your parents are buying stuff for you, like TV, and making it easy for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sky Plus and everything, and then they start spying on you. What is the point? You know what I mean? They contributing in you, like watching sex or whatever, you know what I mean? And then they spy on you. It's like a game for them or something. You know what I mean? Don't buy me TV, don't put Sky or something, and then it's fair. But if you buy from me like a laptop and you spend 20 quid on broadband and stuff and then spy on me, that's not right. You know what I used to do when I was young? Yeah.
No.
Okay, I'll tell you. I used to share a room with my brother. Yeah, my older brother. Yeah. Because I was in exam. Yeah. So I had to sleep before him. So he had the choice. He had the chance to watch TV 2 more hours than me.
Right.
But how can you do it? So my father used to come and say, sleep. You have to sleep. Yeah? So what I've done, I've put a hole. I made a hole on the blanket, yeah? So I cover my head, I do like I'm sleeping.
And you watch TV through the hole in the blanket?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And my mum, once she found out, and she came with her finger and into my eye, you know what I mean?
Ouch. All right. That's a beautiful picture of home life you painted for us there, Ali. Thanks a lot, mate. 0845 6060 973. I used to listen to the radio under the blankets. It used to be Radio Luxembourg. The quality was dreadful. And this is it's almost like the circle of life, this show, because now I'm back to where we started with sending radio waves into space, because for some reason, and I'm not entirely sure what it is, probably experts will tell me, but radio waves at night on the medium wave band, they don't drift off into space so much, they bounce back down, so that a station that you can't hear during the daytime on medium wave comes in relatively clearly at night because it bounces down more. Now, that might be a completely inaccurate description of a phenomenon that everyone's experienced, but that's the way it seems to me.
So it's in delay?
No, it's not in delay. It's just that more of the juice that they're pumping out
is
splashes into your ear.
I think it's because the sun's gone in.
What? You two don't know what you're talking about.
And that's the engineer talking.
There's not much
You've
weather.
got no idea what you're on about, have you?
Nor do you.
Well, that's true, yeah. That's not my job. It's not my job to know what I'm on about. I'm a talk show host. It's 9:45. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Still problems around the centre of town.
And late!
That clip was late. Never mind, eh? Better late than never. Let's have Catford. Hello, Trixie.
Hi.
Trixie.
I really like your new music.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Well.
Yeah.
Hi. Right, you're talking about radio waves into space.
Yes.
And I happen to have had, I've got to do this carefully. I had a stepson. Yes, I had one of my stepsons from my third marriage. Actually works at SETI.
Oh, really? SETI. Okay, this is back to what we were talking about at the beginning. And SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Yes, and in fact, the one and only time I met him, because he's very, very busy, he's very well. I don't want to talk about too much, obviously, because he's well respected. But we talked about Star Trek.
Now, well respected. I don't mean to be rude, but aren't people who search for extraterrestrial intelligence considered swivel-eyed loonies?
It's an astronomer, my dear.
Right.
With a title, so, you know.
Oh, a title. You should have said
you know?
title, eh?
Yes. But it was interesting. We talked about Star Trek in the one meeting we had.
Yeah.
You know, he was far too young to be my son, of course, being a stepson. But it seems that Star Trek has affected so many people, so many scientists, which you've talked about this on the show before.
Affirmative.
Because that's one of the few series where people's imaginations were stretched. Because
really?
Well, think about it. We weren't given everything on screen. All right, they had these little communicators and things, but we didn't have all the video effects that we have these days.
Yes, because they didn't have the money or the technology.
We had to stretch our imagination.
Yeah, I get
the sets were not absolutely brilliant, but the idea was there.
Yeah.
And that's what Gene Roddenberry had. And then, of course, it spawned Next Generation, which, of course, did have a lot of video stuff in it. But even that was very, very well done.
I must confess I've never seen any of them.
Well, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm surprised, actually, because you're a television addict.
Yeah.
Anyway, being a scientist, and, they do study waves. And in fact, he said he studies numbers. That's the fascinating part about it.
Oh, numbers. Nothing more fascinating than numbers.
Well,
Boring!
Exactly. I wish I could have had a chat with him about quantum science. But in fact, we had a good old rabbit about Star Trek. And it does seem that scientists today they really have been influenced by Star Trek.
Yeah.
And we talked about the possibility of travelling into the past, present, future, etc.
Yeah.
Yes. He hasn't. He's not actually looking out for alien beings. He's just looking out for signs of possible transmissions, radio waves.
But that's the same thing, though, no?
Well, not necessarily. Ours might just be bouncing back.
Right.
You never know. No, also, I think that...
Well, that'd be a bit of a waste of time.
But they're also looking out
what he
for
finds
others.
is us.
Well, exactly. But I think they're looking out for planets as well, obviously.
Right.
Because it's not just the alien life that's sending information. It's also the planets themselves. They have some form of natural sort of radiation with
Yes, that's right.
their makeup. Yeah, you didn't expect me to talk seriously ever, did you, my dear? But
This,
I did.
they've been looking for 20 years now. The search for the SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and only relatively recently have we decided to not just listen but to speak in so many words.
Yes.
So we're sending out these, the probes with a map of where we are. We are here.
Yes, I know. It's silly, and they're so perfect. What could an alien understand? And they've given every possibility. Well, the alien would understand this and that.
And there's pictures of human beings on the outside, which I don't know.
Well, they think,
If you were an alien from space, you might think, ooh, so yummy.
Exactly, yummy, exactly. So we might be the next chickens. We're pretty much battery farmed.
Well, no, I want to be an organic chicken.
You want to be an organic chicken on your balcony? Yes, I can imagine that. You'd be one of the most expensive organic chickens, I think, on the market. You'll have your own little palace around you.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And you have to be you'll be there, and you've gone very picky.
Do I have to lay eggs?
No, I can imagine you'll be making... I don't think male chickens make pizza, but they don't lay eggs.
Don't
they? Make pizza. No, they make pizza.
Make pizza?
Well, they turn up as chicken on top of the pizza.
Right. Now this whole idea is beginning to fall apart.
But I'm using my imagination.
Yeah, that's...
Now, this is where we're
don't
going...
ever want to do that, Trixie.
No, well, the thing is, I was a teacher as well. I did study to be a drama teacher for
drama, and you? They aren't strange bedfellows.
That's what I ended up doing, didn't I? I'd been teaching and acting and drama and radio presenting and all that. And I had to teach young kids. So I drew in my childhood. And I used to read these Grimm's fairy tales and Hans Christian Andersen tales. Now, if you remember them, if you ever read those...
Yes, they're horrible. They're
really
absolutely horrific.
Dark stories. And the kids today read sanitized versions of those, as far as I know. They won't read... I doubt that they're far too... they're not politically correct enough.
No, quite.
And the fact is that we were immersed in these wonderful dark stories, and I used to look out into the garden, and I found a ring of toadstools, and I thought there were going to be fairies there, and I was all ready to climb out of the window in the middle of the night.
What, had you eaten them?
No, they were toadstools. I'm not that stupid. I was going out to see the fairies dancing in the ring of toadstools.
Right.
You see, this is the imagination going.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that kids
that we want to
do.
stamp out, yes.
Yeah. So when I was doing drama teaching as part of my training to be a teacher, I used ideas like that to get the kids' imagination going, and I took them on a walk around the school and made them all pretend this, that, and the other.
How did we get from aliens in space to this?
Well, were you talking about aliens, imagination? I'm just going through... It's all a big ring, you see. You went through kids not creating, and I'm talking about my childhood and how I tried to help the kids that I was teaching use their imagination.
Right.
I was using my imagination.
You were using your imagination. Like I said, you never want to do that.
Oh.
I've got to go, Trixie.
Well, I think, by the way, philosophy's brilliant for kids. I mean...
Oh, right, that.
I used to ask why all the time.
Well, yes. I don't think you want to encourage them. Why? Shut up. Cheers, my dear. Ta-ra. How about Basildon? Peppy.
Pepe, yeah, you've got it worked it out. Two things. If there are aliens up there, they probably look at us and think, oh, look at the state of them. They're fighting and killing each other.
Yeah.
We don't want to go down there.
No, very dangerous. You want to put cones around this planet? Yeah.
That's it. Right, now, the thing is about the radio waves. there are some layers of up in the stratosphere, I suppose, called the. It's gone now. There are layers up there, the E, F, and F1 layers.
Oh, you're just making this up.
No, in the ionosphere.
Oh, yeah.
And they are affected by the sun's rays, and at night they bounce. They are sort of, as it were, more solid than during the day, so they bounce the radio waves back down to Earth. And it's mainly the medium wave and long wave and stuff like that.
So you made fun of me when I said it was because the sun had gone in?
Yeah.
I was right.
It is the sun.
Absolute
they
nonsense.
They vary.
Never heard such a load of old rubbish in all my life.
And there's a thing they call the heavy side layer, and this is a fact because I'm a radio amateur, and we have to learn that about how it all works.
The heavy side layer.
The heavy side layer, after a man called Heaviside, who discovered it. And there's the E, F, and F1 layers.
Well, there's no need to be rude.
No, and they vary in their, I suppose, intensity or solidity, as it were, by the sun's rays.
Wow. Solid.
Yowza.
Well, it's almost like an education, this show, ain't it?
No.
No, you're right.
Yes, it is, yes. And that's all fact.
OK, well, we deal in nothing but facts on this show. Thanks a lot, Peppy. Now then, as we come to the end of this super programme, I wonder what we've been talking about this evening.
We've been talking about aliens listening to the Beatles.
Yes.
Radio waves, do they travel as light or sound? Cruises being the biggest...
Light. Did I get that right?
Maybe. Cruises being the biggest selling co.uk.
Yes.
Locks and passwords on TVs.
Oh, yeah.
Families not playing Buckaroo anymore.
No, they don't.
Parents spying on their kids. Easiest way to Euro Disney. TVs in the bedroom. Nick getting boozed up on a train.
Can you be more... can you sell this to me more? You just sound like a robot.
Nick throwing his toys out the pram. Coaches are the most relaxed way to travel.
No, I've confused you, haven't I? I've thrown you off completely.
And radio waves being stronger at night.
This is LBC 97.3. Clive Bull is next.
This Friday, The Sun is proud to bring you...
Good evening, I'm Clive Bull with you till 1 o'clock on LBC 97.3. English football is going global. 10 extra matches could be played around the world. Lots of moaning about this, but what's the problem? Cab fares, Ken allows them to go up again. Are we paying too much for taxis in London? And why are we buying so much garlic? What's happened? That and much more. 0845 60 60 973 is the number.